If you are new to the concept of sound healing, you're in for a treat tonight because I am going to be joined by the beautiful Courtney Tyssen from Heart Resonance. Now, Courtney is going to be joining us at the Exhale Retreat. She is going to be guiding us through a beautiful sound healing journey on one of our evenings, and I've kind of described it like a lullaby because when you have experienced this, it is really magical. It connects with you on a really deep, intimate, and personal level. And I want to get Courtney to explain to us what it is that actually happens when we are in a sound healing session, how it affects our body, how it actually helps us release tension, release stress, and how it helps us actually reconnect back into our bodies, because this is what it's all about for us coming into Exhale. It's about reconnection, reconnecting with our bodies, reconnecting with ourselves, reconnecting in with Mother Nature and the elements in the beautiful Tweed Valley, where we're going to be hosting Exhale on October 23rd to October 26th. And it's going to be 3 very magical, transformative days. And I can't wait to share it with the beautiful women that are coming along to experience this, because I know firsthand for myself just how disconnected I had actually gotten from the world around me and even from myself. And just a personal story while we're waiting for Courtney to join us here is that when I went to see my acupuncturist when I was deep in the midst of my burnout, he was putting pins into my toes and I couldn't feel them. That's how disconnected I had actually become from the sensations in my body. It had completely removed myself and that connection from myself. So here comes Courtney, including my toes. And so I had to go back on this journey of reconnecting and listening back into myself to actually hear what I had to say again. So here is the beautiful Courtney. Courtney, thank you so much for joining
Hi.
us.
No, thank you for having me. It's great to chat.
Yes, it is. Now, Courtney, you are an integrated sound healer, a meditation trainer. Like, you've got a lovely list of beautiful things that you give to the world. Do you want to just introduce yourself and share some of your gifts with us tonight about what you do? And then we'll have a chat about what you're doing for us at Exhale.
Yeah, beautiful. So, yeah, my name's Courtney and I'm from Heart Resonance. And I guess what I'm passionate about is helping people to reconnect to their hearts and who they are and finding their authentic selves. So, I do that a few different ways, but the main area that I'm really drawn to is sound healing, sound therapy, and the power of vibration and energy, right? Because we're all made up of energy and vibration. So, tuning into those subtle yeah, the subtle energy in all of us. And also just moments of stillness through meditation, maybe through yoga or deep breathing practices, and connecting to ourselves in that busy life that we lead. We need to kind of slow down and reconnect. So I try my best to offer spaces where people can do that.
Yeah, and look,
Yeah.
we don't slow down and we don't connect to ourselves very much. Just as you were coming in, I was sharing an experience for myself where when I was deep in the midst of my burnout, I was so disconnected from myself that my acupuncturist was sticking pins in my feet and my toes and I couldn't feel them.
Yeah,
And
wow.
had just completely shut down.
Mm.
And my homework from him was to go home and put my feet in some Epsom salts and to try and get that circulation and that connection back to my feet again. So that's just an example of how disconnected we can actually become from ourselves. But
Yeah.
I'd love to know, how does sound healing help us find that reconnection and that? And obviously, I know how it finds the stillness because we lay
Yeah.
beautifully still and we get all of that. But how does the vibration help us reconnect back to ourselves?
There's a few different ways. I think the first way that I connected to myself um, the most was I've always had heard about the benefits of meditation, and I had always wanted to be a good meditator, so to speak, but I just really struggled to quiet my mind to connect to my body, and I was really disassociated from my body. And I found that when I started to dabble with sound healing and the power of sound to connect to that stillness, it was just a different world. It was like the sounds cut through all the thoughts for me and really helped me to find that focal point where I could then come back to my body and come back to myself. So I feel like sound in that way helps to cut through all the noise. It gives you a really strong point of focus, which is really special.
Mhm.
And I think as well, sound just has a really profound impact on our nervous system. So if we're stuck in that fight or flight response, the vibrations really help us to come back down into that parasympathetic nervous system state. And I think it's when we're in those places of rest and digest and stillness that we can actually reconnect and get out of our busy brains or the to-do lists or the stressful, even like the stress that we're holding from past traumas and past life events, you know. When we finally come back down into that rest and digest mode, it's when we hear those subtle whispers of what's going on for us and what we really need to start to tune into. Mm.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I love the fact that you referenced the fact there that having that sound, if you do struggle to meditate, because I know that there are people who do, really struggle to quiet down the mind and to get to that really focused state. And I know from time to time that happens for me as well. Like it's the thoughts are pinging off in the head. Whereas, yeah, the sound actually helps you kind of gives you another pathway, I suppose, to actually
Mm.
find that sense of relaxation. And I liked what you touched on there about the nervous system and how getting back into that rest and digest state, because I think, again, I know from my own experience and what I see happening in other women around me is that we are very much in that heightened state all the time where we're in that fight, flight, freeze. And that is not allowing our bodies to function in an optimal way because they're geared up, ready to, run away or fight or, do the, as it suggests, fight, flight, freeze, because
Mm.
we are, ready to react to everything that's around us, and having that moment where we can just let it all go, come back to that, to
Mm.
ourselves, back to our moment, and really enable us to reconnect back into our bodies, I think is just such a magical opportunity for us as well.
Yeah, and for some people, it's such an aha moment when they finally do that. It's like, oh my gosh, I've been missing this for so long.
Yeah.
You know, it's like they're finally returning home to themselves, and there's so much power in that, I think. Mm.
Yeah, absolutely. And what is it about, I have an understanding of the vibration, but I'd love to hear your version of it and how that actually helps within the body to create this alignment and this reconnection.
Yeah, so the first thing that I love that it does is brainwave entrainment. So the different frequencies, maybe through the crystal bowls or drumming or whatever it might be, helps us to entrain the brainwaves into like a dreamlike state. So we're lowering the brainwaves. So rather than being in that heightened stress response, the brainwaves drop down, and we're in even like some people drop down into they feel like they're dreaming or they feel like they're really getting into that subconscious level, which is really special. And so that's probably on a scientific level, it's really lovely to be able to see studies that prove that the brain waves are dropping through just simply being at a sound bath, and you're reconnecting to yeah, a more calm, relaxed state of mind.
Yeah.
And then also, I think it just connects, like I said at the very beginning, with the fact that we're all vibration, we're all frequency, we all hold a different energy. And so it's like the vibrations get into all of our cells, all of our nooks and crannies, and help us to remember that who we are and really raise our vibration. I think it just the vibrations help us to kind of resync all of our mechanisms and just make us feel more in tune, which is really special. Mm.
Yeah. And, as you said, we are all vibrational beings. Like we're made of
Mm.
water
Yeah.
and water vibrates and we react to the things that are around us. So by having that immersiveness of being in that sound bath is really helping to kind of recalibrate. And that's what I'd love to understand a little bit more about is in terms of the way that you conduct a sound
Mhm.
healing session, the types of instruments you use and how you kind of curate and orchestrate that
Yeah.
experience for someone. What are the types of things that you're thinking about when you're bringing this all together? Because I'm sure people are fascinated, and we've had conversations. I've done a couple of these sessions now with different
facilitators that are going to be joining us and supporters of the Exhale retreat. And,
Mm,
we've been talking about it because, some people might see this as a little bit woo-woo or a little bit
yeah.
left of field. You've already explained some of the science behind it, but I'd like to understand, what kind of inspires you as you create these experiences for people.
I think it's really intuitive for me. I think I'm very much led by the group that I'm facilitating for, and I can really sense the energy in the room and sense what needs to be played and when. In terms of like a general structure, there is more to it, which we learn through the courses that we do, and it's important not to. Um, get people into a really deep state and then startle them by any strange noises or whatever and kind of wake them up. So
Yeah.
there is a flow to it. And each instrument really does hold a unique element, a unique quality to it. So, for example, when we're playing the frame drum, we're really tuning into the earth element and we're grounding the body. We're also releasing energy. So there's a flow of how you can use different instruments to create different shifts through the body, which is really special. I like to try my best to create a really beautiful kind of, if you can imagine, like an up and down journey or a sine wave,
Yep.
where you start and you feel really mellow and very soft and relaxed, and then things might get a little bit more intense, but only a little bit, and that's where you kind of explore the deeper levels of what's going on and try to release energy in the body that might be stuck. And then you bring that up to a level and then you come back down to a state of relaxation and deep rest. So there's this constant ebb and flow. And so that's where the idea of a sound journey comes from, I guess you could say, because everybody goes through this journey of different sensations through the body, different elements, different sounds, different feelings, so to speak.
Mm.
Yeah.
And it is really interesting to, having experienced this, what does start to arise, whether it's, niggles or sensations or, tingling and things that do move through your body, or emotions that start to come up as well.
Mm.
It's kind of like, you think about things, kind of shaking it, and you're shaking all of this stuff to the surface and helping it move through. And like you said, that stuck energy. And sometimes it might be a little bit of an abstract concept for people to kind of understand. But if we think
Mm.
about any experience that we have where we have that emotional response, if we're not processing that through our body and we're holding on to it and kind of trapping it,
Mm.
that does get stuck in our system. And it's layers and layers and layers of this energy that gets trapped in our body. And as you mentioned earlier, like it could be from trauma or any sort of, incidents or things that have accidents that have happened in our bodies over our lifetime, that we
Mm.
haven't been able to kind of process and move through. And I know that this is a way of doing that. And the reason that I wanted to really bring this to Exhale is because a lot of the women that are going to be experiencing this retreat will be new to sound healing. It's not something they're likely to have experienced before, because of the type of work that they're in and the corporate retreat world that the corporate world that they live in. And the intention for this retreat was to start to bridge that gap a little bit, to just sort of give them a taste of what are these, some of the other modalities that exist in the world to support our nervous systems, to support our bodies, to process and release things that we have been carrying around for so long. And they're the things that actually layer in and make us feel heavy, and that impacts our capacity, it impacts our energy, it impacts so much things. And and as business leaders and owners, we need as much capacity as we can to do all the things that we need to do, and as women, running our households and everything else that we've got to do. So that is exactly why I wanted to have yourself come along and give people this gift, to show them that what is possible, with some of these other sort of different and interesting modalities that they potentially haven't experienced before.
Yeah, I love that there'll be people who are experiencing it for the first time. It's always amazing to see how they respond, and it's always positive. People really, really love it. And what I
Yeah.
do love the most about the sound healing experience is that it is very gentle and it is very safe. It's very accessible for people. It gets you into that state where you feel like you're nurtured and nourished and you're just held in a little cocoon and your body feels really heavy and relaxed. And then I think it's from these places where we feel safe, where we can actually go a little bit deeper and we can start to actually release those deeper layers of things that are holding us back, right? So that's what I love about it. It's the safety that comes with the sound.
Yeah, and if we don't have that sense of safety, then our nervous system is going to stay on alert. So
Yeah.
having that sense of safety enables us to come back into that rest and digest state, which is where our body starts to, work in an optimal way. As it says, we're able to rest and we're able to
Yeah.
digest. Because when we're not, that's when we have gut issues and flare-ups and skin issues. And I know so many women are experiencing that, but we don't quite understand, what does it mean to come back to rest and digest? How do I actually get there? And this is just another way that people can experience that and feel that sense of calmness, that sense of safety that they probably haven't experienced for quite some time. I know when I was going through this journey for myself, it was such a foreign idea to be in a sense of calm and safety. And, it took me a while to really understand and connect to this idea. And then when I did, I'm like, oh my God, I haven't been like this for years. Like, this was such a new sensation, a new feeling for me. And so I can't wait for these women to experience it. And we've got you coming later in the evening. So it's going to be after dinner. So it's going to be like a little gentle lullaby to put
Yes.
everybody off to sleep, which I'm
Everyone
super
is going to
excited.
have the best night's sleep of their life. It's going to be
Yeah.
fantastic.
Absolutely, absolutely. And some of the things that we spoke about too is that you use sound to connect to different parts of the body. And, as part of this retreat is for business women, I wanted them to really reconnect with that creative center within themselves and kind of reconnect to that passion, that fire that's within them. Can you talk us through a little bit about how you might approach that within the sound journey?
Yeah, the element of fire is it's an exciting one. It's really beautiful. But I think creativity also comes from really trusting in our authenticity and being not afraid to speak our truth or be who we are. And then we kind of really develop our own creative flair, so to speak, and that fire within. It's all connected through these different chakras, right? So I think the first place is to reconnect to the heart and who we are and our soul's essence. And then from there, just like stoking that fire within, really allowing, there are different instruments as well that can be used to help fuel the fire in terms of like a really vibrant drumming beat can be quite fun, especially if you're playing around the fire and you're dancing and as you can imagine. And also, yeah, like seed crackers and shakers and things to just kind of stimulate that internal flame. But like I said, I do think that more importantly, it's about really resting into the heart space for me. I
Mm.
think everything stems from the heart. And so allowing people to explore their own authenticity and reconnect with who they are will help to fuel that fire even more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
absolutely. And that's great because that's the entire theme of the
Yeah.
entire weekend is firstly being able to let go of that breath that we've been
Mm.
holding and exhale, as the name suggests, is kind of just like
Yeah.
I can finally relax.
Yeah.
And then but to reconnect back into with our own essence because it doesn't matter where you are, whether you're whatever it is that you do, whether you're running a business or you're not, you're in a leadership position or you're not, if you're not connected back to your heart and your true essence, it doesn't matter what you're doing. Nothing is ever going to feel fulfilling. You're
Yeah.
always going to feel like you're searching for something, that you're not quite measuring up, that things aren't quite ticking all the boxes for you because you're chasing the wrong dreams.
Mm.
And that's what this weekend is going to be about, is about reconnecting with yourself so that you know that the direction in which you're taking your business or your career or your leadership skills are all in alignment with that deeper inner purpose that you know within you. And that is where we're going to be spending a lot of the weekend. Through these different somatic practices, we're going to be creating space and clearing all of that stagnant energy and, really enabling our bodies to take and hold more of that beautiful atmosphere that we want to create within our businesses and our lives, and then finding ways to reconnect back into and find what our true essence is before that we can then progress forward and go, okay, so where are we going with our business or where are we going with our leadership? And that's the essence of this weekend, is to create the space so that we then have the clarity to be able to move forward with real purpose and real direction.
Sounds amazing. I love it.
Yeah, it's
It's
going to
going to
be
be
incredible.
such a magical weekend. It's truly going to be something special. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm so glad that you're going to be joining us and taking us through this experience. It's going to be one of the highlights for me, absolutely, and I'm really, really looking forward to it. And I'm really curious to see the instruments that you're going to bring, and like you said, the inspiration that you're going to take from the room and the women that are going to be gathered there, because
Yeah.
we're all going to bring our different energies, and it's going to be. I'm just really excited.
So nice. I can't wait to meet everyone there, and it's beautiful for me to see every time I go somewhere new and meet new people. It's always a different experience. There's always a different some different feedback from people, because we're all unique beings on our own unique journey. And so I just love connecting with new people and seeing how they respond to sound. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's going to be magical.
Yeah.
So, well, thank you so much for joining us tonight, Courtney. It's an
Thank
absolute
you.
pleasure, and for explaining and giving us a bit more of a background around what sound healing is and what people can experience from Exhale. So, Exhale is happening on the 23rd to the 26th of October. It's going to be held in the gorgeous Tweed Valley hinterland. It's going to be a mix, as we've said, of beautiful somatic healing practices and also business and leadership exploration, so that you can return to your life and your business with so much more clarity, with so much more purpose, and that real deep commitment to both yourself and to the life that you want to create. So I'm really excited about it. If you want any more information about it, head over to the link in my bio, jump into the website. It's melissamarsden.com.au, and you can find some more information there, and you can save your space to join us at Exhale the Retreat. So thank you so much, Courtney. Lovely to speak
Thank
with
you
you.
so much.
Thank
Look
you.
forward to it. See you
Me
soon.
too. See you soon. Bye.
Bye.